Hello, everyone. Welcome to our first small podcast that we decided to create with my colleague Elkin. Elkin, hello.
Yeah, hello.
How's it going?
Great, great. How are you?
Pretty busy as always. And today we decided to overview and discuss quite hot topic that comes from the market, from our clients, from our partners. I believe this is quite important mission to talk about this more and more because that's the questions that we're gonna touch base today is really important for a lot of different businesses. And the main topic for today is basically what am I supposed to do if I do not know on how to move forward or on how to do the scaling. And it's quite interesting thing because there are multiple options how you can do that. One of them is basically white label solutions. The other one is a custom development. And today with Elkin, we want to discuss it from different aspects, from business side and from technical side, because Elkin is closely working with the clients' businesses um, and to find are there any options and what are the main criterias, um, what option to choose. um, Quick intro. I'm Artem. I'm CBDO at Involve, and my main responsibility is to help businesses to grow, scale, and enhance their processes, business processes, and to reach their goals. Elkin is the CTO, who's closely working. But I think, Elkin, you can introduce yourself.
Yes, sure. Thank you, Artem. Yes, as Artem already mentioned, I'm a CTO at Involve. I have 20 years experience in software development, software engineering. Currently, we're mostly focusing on AI and Web3 areas, but we're pretty flexible in different domains and different expertise. My main goal is to be advocate and translator between business and technical teams, so everyone speaks the same language and the same terms and on the same page.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. And let's dive in. The first topic that I want to touch base is basically, is it worth in 2025 to use white label solutions, and why?
Well, it's pretty tough topic to be honest, because it's always case by case. There are some cases, there are some situations when white label is pretty much better for you for your business to make a time to market, because white label is about speeding and delivery on high quality product mostly, with predictable outcomes. Because before you launch your full scale product, you can touch it, you can play with it within a sandbox, you can ask technical team for support, maintenance, and sometimes even for very deep customization for your business pipeline. So let's say you're a Web3 project with a pretty mature community. You launch your token or you launched some um, some features. I don't know. It doesn't matter actually. And now you would like to provide more value for your community, and you're deciding to make your own Web3 non-custody wallet. And in this case, you can think, wow, writing this from scratch, even using the open source repos that's available for everyone, it will be pretty tough, even with experienced team, because it will take time and it's not your core business. Yes, your core business is built upon your community, deliver value for this community, and developing something new. It's pretty, pretty not so close to your business. So there are a lot of white label non-custodial wallets that you can use and just make some customizations, and these customizations will allow you to bring like branded Web3 wallets for your community with your token in it, with necessary monetization models in it within a weeks instead of writing this from scratch that will take months and thousands of dollars. So yes, definitely in 2025, even with AI era, there's still space for mature, high quality white label products that will shorter your time to market.
Got it. But let's not anchor, let's say, to the fintech or Web3 projects. Let's imagine I'm a business owner who exactly understand my audience, my business goals, and I exactly understand what I want to see, let's say, in my MVP. Um, in and let's talk in general. I think it's always the question about the resources, right? Like budgeting, resources, people, sometimes processes, and some various external factors. I truly believe that there is a no right answer in terms of whether to choose white label or to go with the custom development, because you not you cannot adapt white label each, of course there are a variety of them, but in general it's really hard to adopt your white label product according to your needs, especially if you have external requirements, let's say from regulators or from investors or from your audience, etc. uh, is it a balance where you can basically save the resources, stick with the white label, or is it still better, let's say, to start with the custom POC, which is definitely less than it costs less efforts to build an MVP? Uh, what would you choose?
Well, as you mentioned, there's no silver bullet, and it's always about balance between what resources do you have and what goals you're going to achieve. Um, that's why sometimes it's better to build a custom POC, custom proof of concept, where you show clear paths for your investors, for your community, what are you going to build and how it will be looking like. So it's so-called happy path uh, that is focused on your positive scenario for this software, for this experience, user experience, but there are a lot of edge cases and you definitely can't put this to the production because it has security issues, it definitely has some user experience issues and other kind of things. On the other hand, white label, uh, that's already evaluated by the market, that is already used by other clients, may definitely help you to avoid unnecessary regulations, unnecessary problems that they already solved in their software. So it really depends on business what are you building, and sometimes it's better to start with white label and then to switch to the custom development. And in some cases, it's better to start with a custom POC and then stick with white label or make a hybrid of white label and your custom solution. So it's always case by case.
Agree. But again, it's always a tough decision. And the next, I think, really valuable point is the scalability. In your technical world, how much cases have you seen where, when it comes to scalability, was it better to use off-the-shelf product, or when businesses started with the POC but smaller versions of it? Um, is there are there any differences in scaling?
Well, yes, both from the technical side and the business side. For instance, let's take the software that is allowing users to pass QIC, know your customer. If you're using some service provider, its regular price is about $2 per check. And on a big scale, it will eat your budget very quick. Like if you have 10,000 or 100,000 of checks per month, it's really expensive. And the other hand, if you're building your custom solution, in this case, you're paying only for infrastructure. And this infrastructure is based on just you pay as you go, based on your demand, based on your load of the infrastructure. Some white label providers allow you to utilize like your own cloud, or some enterprise plans allow you to bring the software they built to your dedicated servers. And in this case, of course, scalability is mostly your responsibility. So it's also always a balance of using a cloud solution that allow to scale like in a clicks, like instantly, and you moved whole responsibility for it to your cloud to white label provider. And on the other hand, you are mostly working on your own. So it's definitely about the risk management. So, how much control you would like to give for third party vendors?
The next a valuable point is regarding the flexibility of your project or product, and the price that you pay. The in white label, going with the off the shelf product. Again, we touch we discuss the scalability, and from technical aspect to scale the white label model, sometimes you have to pay even the same price to be able to maintain and to handle the code base from this product, the white label product. And sometimes it's not worth, rather than if you would start it with your custom development. um, are there any important criteria that you can highlight from technical aspect first, why we have to consider with the team, what are advantages or disadvantages to go from the beginning with white label? Because sometimes you cannot just cancel it at one time when you want to, because if you have a already existing product, users, working features, you cannot just cancel it and just drop it down. What are those criteria for management to understand what way to choose from the beginning, or if there are something? um, okay, let's stop on that first.
Okay, definitely management itself will be pretty hard to understand when to choose white label and when to choose custom development. So they always need some kind of technical advisor on their side that will analyze responses of the both teams, like the white label delivery team and the custom development team, and decide which of the responses is more matching with the business strategy, because it's always all about the goals business setting for the next months of or years if they are mature enough. So uh, as I previously said, sometimes it's better to start with a custom POC, because in this case, you're highlighting only your happy paths, only the things that are really important for your audience and or community, and it might cost you lower than you're taking the big white label solutions super app that have some functionalities that you would like to show, but it also has a lot of other functions that you don't really need right now or even at all, and you can't just shut down them, or it's like hard to shut down them. So for business, most important thing, even from the technical side, because technical side is not a decision maker here, business is decision maker. And business need to understand what they want to achieve with their product, what are their North Star metrics to understand what was the implementation of this software successful or not.
By any chance, could you make an example or share some insight when you were in such consideration was the business where you were choosing which path to choose?
Yes, sure. In like 5 or 7 years ago, I worked for a big fintech It wasn't startup actually; it was pretty big company, and they wanted to build a very custom ERP system, and they asked me to make analysis of the market research. What solutions do we have on market? How much will they cost? And to compare it with custom development with in-house. During research, which took me like 2 months, I aligned the market positions, market propositions with stakeholders' desires, and we definitely understood that the best choice is to make custom development here because stakeholder had a clear vision, like he understands what he want to achieve at the end. He had enough budget for long development, and it was completely in-house in internal product. And to achieve this, there's white label gives only like 70% of overlap, and the other 30% anyway we will need to write in custom integration. So after this analysis, after talks and conversations with the stakeholder, we decided to go with custom.
Got it. But here comes the thing. It's a quite very typical story when medium businesses or even enterprises, even having their own internal development team, they don't want to spend the budget for the custom development, the in-house development, or even go into the outsourcing development vendors. Sometimes it's, of course, it's in most cases it's much more affordable, uh, but still they decide to go with couple of white label products that, as you rightly mentioned, having like 60% overlap, 20% overlap, and another 20% overlap. But they don't think about the headache that they would have, that they will have in 1 year, 2 year, and they have to go back and reinvest once again in order to adopt their system according to the business needs or according to the transformation. Sometimes it's just not reasonable and clear why businesses do so. Perhaps you have an answer to that.
Well, I'd say that situations are really unique, and sometimes it's about trust into your own team or trust into third-party vendors, or it's a load of your current in-house technical team or their skills. Because if your primary goal is not to develop a software, your technical team is like highly likely just a maintenance team that supports the technical infrastructure within the company. And if you want to build something big like a CRM system for you or ERP system or integrate very complicated module, you can do this for your in-house team. And in this case, you are going to hire a third-party vendor to do this. Uh, so it's unique and based on business situation and trust to their team, as I said, and pricing model of the vendors.
But what about the compliances and the security? When you use couple of the solutions, how can you be sure 100% regarding your data? Let's imagine from investment market, wealth management market. How can I be sure? Of course, I understand that all the white label products have their own policies. They provide all this information, but who is responsible for combining all these three systems together? Because each product is responsible for their own product, and they make sure that everything works only with their side, even though they have different APIs in our world, and you can easily build those integrations. But security is one of the most important criteria in most of the market anyway. uh, how to deal with that, who's responsible for that at the end, because usually also big companies looking for the external vendor, to basically provide all this setup to do all these integrations and combine all these three systems together. Uh, and here's a tough point: who is responsible for that? Was it a good decision? And what could be the way out?
That's pretty good question, to be honest, and I would like to answer on it in the same in this way. So, who is responsible? It's always about agreement, between client, like a stakeholder, and providers. But there's actually one role, integrator role, who blending all softwares into single point. And in general cases, integrator is a responsible guy. But as I said, it's very unique. And in some cases, you can, as a business, you can put the responsibility to third-party companies that will make external audit of the existing integration and say, this should be fixed. Here you have a problems and etc. etc. So in my point of view, the best option is to use third-party audit, which is not connected to service provider or vendor provider, which gives you software and not connected to you directly, because it should have no interests to support your decision or your service provider decisions. In this case, audit will be transparent, it will be adequate manner, and it will be completely in favor of your customers, of your business, but not the persons who are behind it. In this case, audit will show all your weak points, all problems of integrations, and any possible future problems. But of course, audit is a big extra costs, and it's also a lot of money. So it's not affordable for like startups and small companies. It's mostly when we are talking about medium to big businesses. So what should do the small companies and startups, you may ask? In this case, best case is to manage risks internally. So you are responsible for integration, your technical team responsible for integration, and you making the final decision about how data, how information about clients, how sensitive data should be stored, and you set this regulation, this requirements to the compliance. And definitely, this is either chief information officer should do on your side or chief technical officer. It depends on your structure of your business, of your company. But yes, for small companies, it's better to have a um, dedicated guy for this role. Or for medium to big companies, it's better to provide external audit company.
Thanks for the explanation. I think that's really important. At the end, as a conclusion, correct me if I'm wrong. So basically, we the responsibility is always on the stakeholders, and you have to clearly understand what kind of risk you're ready to share with either external vendors or audit team or with the team of white label products. Uh, and it's always everybody's trying to avoid that situation, but it's inevitable, fortunately or unfortunately. And from this part of the conversation, I want to move forward to the second part, which is really hyped, I think, nowadays. Could AI solve all these issues?
Uh,
Or could AI make a significant impact in the decision making process of how business should be run?
that's also a pretty good question because AI is really on the hype, and but most of businesses still think that it's a big red button like make everything beautiful or make me rich. That's not how AI is working. AI is just a toolkit that increases your powers and increases your outcomes. So if you're like generating $10 value right now. With AI, you have a potential with the same efforts, with the same impact to generate 10x or 20x more than you're generating right now. So answer on the first part of the question, no, AI right now can't control all this decision, but yes, AI can make significant impact on decision making process. These processes are not defined yet, so industry is still finding the best strategies, best SDLC processes that includes AI, but we are still very early. So there's a field of experiments. We are all of us are experimenting what we can delegate to AI, what decision making could be delegated, and how deterministic these decision making processes could be. Because for some cases, like say testing, automatic tests, AI is very good helper that can improve CI pipeline, the delivery pipeline, and find different kind of bugs and problems in syncing and code base. But you still can't rely on it in all questions. It might be fixed in the future versions of models, in future versions of um, pipeline itself. But we're still too early to delegate everything to AI. Unfortunately, we need to work.
But the future is here, but it's not ready.
Yeah, yeah.
Got it. It was quite good remark. Thanks, Elkin. But if we go back to the beginning of our conversation, if I'm planning to run a business, shall I even consider going with custom POC or white label product if I can just use multiple AI tools to build it myself by myself or by my couple of engineering couple or by couple of my engineers? Uh, is it worth it? This this option?
It's definitely worth it, but it's really relies on what kind of businesses you're going to run. Because if you're wanna run something like a bank or a, I don't know, very big fintech project with
I don't think every big project started from the beginning, like to build my own mobile application or to run a banking application. I think a couple of features still can any type of business can start with using AI just to prove that it's actually working, or I'm not correct.
uh, actually, it still depends on what are exactly your goals. Yes, AI is good in prototyping and like wireframing, and if you need just to validate your idea with external audience or even internal audience, doesn't matter. Yes, AI is the best option for now to go. You don't need a white label if you need just to prove your idea, to prove that everything will work like this. uh, it's okay to go with AI. But if you're going to start some business that requires a compliance or it requires some kind of certifications like ISO 27001 or GDPR or SOC2 or any other kind of compliance that it's like a strict requirement from the regulatory in the area where you're working, of course white label solution is better because like even like PCI DSS compliance may take you a lot of, okay, not a lot of money, some money, and from 6 to 12 months it's pretty big time for a startup, and it's better to use some white label solutions that already support necessary certifications. So it's always balance of what are you building, for whom you are building, and what are your final goals with this product. Okay, Artem, thanks for your questions. And let me now, as a CTO from advocate of the technical team, ask some questions. When you start to talk with the clients about white label versus custom, what are their three pain points or three fear points of implementing one or another? So why they are even considering custom, or why they are even considering white label. Uh, what are their pain points?
Yeah, thanks, Elkin, for the question. And I don't really think my replies would significantly differ than the answers that you provided to me. But I think it's always about the resources and efforts. From business side, people and the stakeholders, uh, they think on technical aspects of the business or product a little bit on the later stages. And one of the first question that comes to me that I'm being asked is, how much should I pay for that and why? And sometimes, as you already answered, it's really hard to provide a, a quite clear response in terms of, okay, you have to go with the custom development because of this, and this, or you have to go with the white label product because of this, and this. Again, if we talk about some regulatory or compliance business, of course, uh, it's always we as a software development team, we cannot help and advocate the legal aspects. We cannot do that instead of clients. So we usually have partners, and we suggest to consultate or involve them into the conversations. Our main goal at Involve is to provide a clear, transparent solution that the business are looking for. And we're always transparently saying that, okay, if you don't want to spend this amount of budget for the legal aspects and to cover this, and this aspect, surely let's go and let's stick with the white label option. We are always open to do the consultation, to advise and support in terms of choosing the right one, because we have a networking partnerships with a lot of different products and off-the-shelf companies, and we clearly understand what could be the best case and what could be the balance between budget and the results that we can measure at the end. But there are always cases where it doesn't really make sense to go with the white label option, or the client would pay a bit less for the white label, but a bit more for the custom, let's say MVP. But my main goal is to show the value and advantages of, let's say, going with the custom development. Stakeholders usually don't see that really, really clearly. Why is it better? Because they have their own processes, budgeting. They understand how much they're ready to invest, and of course, the multiple vendors on the market. It's a big competition, and he thinks he's looking for the best offer. That's market. That's a capital market, and that's a typical situation. And here comes one thing that is not really obvious from the beginning, is to see um, what vendor provides the most value, uh, and how you can be sure that this specific company can really deliver what you want to. Because you'll have 20 offers on your table. How would you choose which one to stick with? So at the end, when you're choosing the right offer, you have to clearly understand, believe, and trust the company who you're gonna sign a contract with. And usually this is a like 2 3 weeks, sometimes months of the communication and negotiations. But at the end, when you sign the papers, you have to be 99% sure that the results will be delivered. If you're not sure, then something wrong happened during this selection process. Same with the white label product, because you have to be 99% sure that this functionality will be covered, all the aspects is covered, you don't have any overlaps, etc., etc. It's same situation. But when you're dealing with both of that, when you deal with the vendor and you deal with the white label product, you'll have to be really, really, really careful and compare by various factors. I don't want to mention all of them, but that's um, that's a key to success, because in order to bring your idea to life, it's a quite a lot of uh, operational things that you have to go over. And one of the fear things for this for the stakeholders is exactly to how to make them sure that this option is the best and why. And my goal is to, and I always trying to be transparent from the early beginning, to convince, okay, if we cannot do that, or if we're not sure, we're saying that we're not sure, we do not know, or we need time. This is part of my job, to convince and make sure that service that we will provide will 100% match with the goals that the client have. That's the one story. The second story is always the timeline and the deadlines. Sometimes what business wants to is not is not realistic. It's impossible to deliver even with the POC or the MVP, whatever, even with the white label product. And you have to build the communication, and um, that's always key to success. So the communication is always key to success, because you have to. Uh, there are multiple options how you can deal with that by cutting the scope. You can think in terms of compliance features that we want or do not want to include in our first scope, infrastructure, maintenance, engineering team, etc., etc., delivery processes, a lot of different things that impact on that. But this is all. But and at the end, we have to be in time and deliver on time. That's the second question, and I have to balance between these aspects with communication with businesses. So the technical part of it comes a bit later, when I go to you with already defined scope, task, expectations, etc., and then it's much more easier than the first part that was done. And it's every business, not only the fintech or Web3, logistic, e-commerce, even not IT business. It has its own processes, but in general, uh, the system is the same.
Thanks for your perspective, Artem. It's really valuable for us. Uh, I agree 100% on this, and with my own way, with my own path, I also come to the same outcomes. Like clear communications and aligned expectations with the client is the most important thing for everyone. So it's like a win-win strategy for everyone, and 100% agree. Regarding to the AI era in which we're like stepping in right now, um, how do you feel in your personal experience changed the percent of the clients that prefer now to go with AI powered tools like AI powered POCs versus like a custom development? Are there more like companies that are asking for this, or they prefer to make it in house by themselves, or there are no changes on the market yet?
I think everything that you mentioned is currently exists. Why? Because one scenario when people already come with the ready-made POC and they want to scale it, or they wanted to adopt it, or they made something by themselves. Some of them are just trying, looking for the vendor to help them to build this AI POC, AI-based POC, and it's always again comes to the requirements and the questions of always the question of necessity of it. Of course, we as a business understand that AI will save a lot of resources for the client, for the business. Uh, And we try to build our business model is pretty clear. We don't want to earn extra on the business. If that would work, then it's fine, because our goal is to build partnership and make the business successful, and to establish this long-term relationships rather than just to do the business. Of course, a lot of even in development right now, a lot of companies and the businesses use AI, and it really saves resources, time. You can reinvest into something else. So in general, it's uh, business stakeholders looking for the decision, but how to achieve them, it's more on rely on technical aspect of the service that we provide. Of course, we all understand that AI saves a lot of time, resources, and helps to reinvest into something new. um, but again, we have to clearly understand the scope and what the specific of the business, because still there are a lot of businesses where AI cannot even replace the people. It can just only optimize some of the processes, and that's it. You cannot rely on it as a like a human being, or like aspect which can cover most of the things. No, still, um, there should be a person who is handling all that. In every business, in every company enterprise, there are departments that are using AI and thinking on how to implement it in this or another scenario. So me as a business person, of course, I hear a lot about the AI. At the end, I think we're all gonna use it, and it's inevitable future. The question of the scalability of the AI power tools, and depending on what kind of AI solutions you want to build, because there are multiple open source um, options. So it's always about the necessity and the requirements.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah,
Tak,
absolutely. Thank you very much, Elkin, for joining for this conversation with me today. I think we covered a lot of the things, a lot of aspects. Not maybe as detailed as possible, but we need another 1 hour to speak about some specific topic. There were a couple of interesting insights for me from your side. So yeah, thank you very much for joining, and I hope everybody who's gonna watch. You can leave the comment or ask any questions. Would be happy to answer.
Yes, thank you, Artem. Thanks for inviting me and discovering these really hot topics. And I can also join to your invitation. Leave any comments, ask any questions in which you would like us to go deeper, and see you on the next meeting.
Yeah, thanks. Bye bye.
Yeah, see you. Bye.